Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carter, and I love talking about movies, horror movies, superheroes, and comic books. And I just watched Cuckoo, which is the new Neon distributed horror film written and directed by Tilman Singer, starring Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, and Jessica Henwick. And this movie, the less I say about it, the better. It's just about a teenager who's played by Hunter Schafer, who goes to a resort in the Alps where she meets a guy, Dan Stevens, who owns the resort, and things happen. I really don't want to give a ton away about this film because going in blind, going in like the less you know, the better. Now, before I get into this, I want to ask, what did you guys think of Cuckoo? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Are you on a mixed bag? What do you think of the recent Neon releases, such as Longlegs and Stop Motion? For example, I loved Longlegs. I really didn't love stop motion. But let me know what you think about it, and before, leave a like and comment, and let's get started. So going into the positives of Cuckoo, I really enjoyed Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens's performances. I thought both of them really knocked it out of the park. On one side of the coin, you have Hunter Schafer really doing her best here. I haven't seen her in really anything else, so I mean the bar is set high as far as Hunter Schafer content goes now. But I think that she did a great job here. I mean, I've heard of her in Euphoria, but then she really surprised me. A lot of the emotional plot beats, especially in the second half of the film, really just wouldn't be all that great without Schafer here at the helm, and she really sells it, especially her relationship to her younger sister, Alma. I think that the dynamic between those two characters is really well done, and she has quite a few scenes, either where she's playing off of Dan Stevens or playing off of Jessica Henwick, that I think worked really well here. On the other side of the coin, you have Dan Stevens, who is just playing up again. His back must hurt. He has a felony out for his arrest on the account of stealing 3 films this year, this one included. He absolutely kills it here. He is so much fun, and to me, although Hunter Schafer was the emotional lifeblood of this film, Dan Stevens was the entertainment value of this film. This movie is really crazy, it's zany, and it does a lot of different things within the runtime, and to me, all of that is really held together by Dan Stevens' performance. The way he delivers his lines, the little movements he does, just the way he looks at Gretchen or Gretchen's family, just when they thinks that they're not noticing, was really well done, and I loved every single part of that. I also think that the direction here, as far as cinematography and just the eye for the camera from Tilman Singer, usually I shout out the cinematography, the director of photography here. I don't have my laptop on me, and so unfortunately I can't look that up. However, I think that this movie looks great. In all honesty, I didn't watch it in the best of conditions, so the sound and picture weren't perfect. It kind of threw me off on occasion. So this is something that I will rewatch when it comes out on VOD, whether that's on Amazon Prime, I pay $6-7 for it, or if it goes on streaming somewhere by the end of the year, I will rewatch it, because this is one of those movies. I have a little list of movies that I need to have like a second watch opinion on before I can really sit down and give my concrete ranking of films for the year. This is definitely one of them. I also liked the score quite a bit, and I thought that the setting of the Swiss Alps was really fun and unique, and it also makes for a very gorgeous and very beautiful film. Now, getting into the mix, I think that this is a movie that just honestly wastes Jessica Henwick. She hasn't gotten a lot to do in big projects lately. I mean, I was first introduced to her via Iron Fist on the Netflix, and she was far and away the best part of that show. Saying that as someone who actually kind of enjoyed the show, she is far and away the best part of that, and then she's kind of just wasted in Matrix Resurrections, and here she just doesn't get a lot to do. So while it was a joy to see her on screen, again, she doesn't really get anything to do. Gretchen's father as well doesn't get a ton here, and a lot of her relationships with her parents or with a friend are really undervalued and underdeveloped here. And so on one hand, you have something like the concept of this film, which could be very interesting, and some of the stuff where it goes in the third act and the last half of the film is really engaging, but it just didn't quite stick the landing for me. I do think that the designs of the more horrific elements in this film didn't work for me as well. I thought they did at first, and then as you see more and more, it just doesn't quite hit home. And just going into the negatives here, unfortunately, this was a movie that was very much a mixed bag. Number one reason was that, for me personally, I just didn't find it scary. I got a lot of flack on TikTok for saying I found Longlegs to be truly scary, which I did. I found it very tense, very scary. Cuckoo, I've heard is scaring people more than Longlegs. Me personally, I didn't see it. I wasn't really that scared. I wasn't really that on edge. Again, that could attribute to my viewing experience. It wasn't the best circumstance. However, it just didn't really creep me out. And in a year where we've had multiple movies that have genuinely unnerved me, such as Oddity from last month, which I cannot recommend enough, going into Cuckoo and seeing all the high praise from people really disappointed me. There's like one scene that I think is really effective. Other than that, it just didn't scare me. It didn't get me uneasy. It didn't get me unnerved. It didn't creep me out at all, which I found to be really bummed out for myself, at least. I really was anticipating this movie. I think this is one of those movies where it's a victim of my own expectations. I'm not sure what I expected, but the trailer just wasn't really what the movie was, which is a criticism that I will take all the flack for myself personally. I just didn't really connect with this movie. I thought the emotional stuff was handled well, the performances were great, but a lot of the stuff going into the second half really just kind of felt wasted, unexplained, kind of thrown out the window. They just throw a lot of stuff here at the wall, and Tilman Singer is just trying to see what sticks, and I found that kind of method of writing for this film didn't work for me. This is a movie to where it was, I think, my number 9 most anticipated film of the year. Once Saw 11 got delayed, I switched Cuckoo out for it because I was like, man, this trailer is sick. I'm so excited. Dan Stevens is killing it. It has a great concept where it could really go zany and go all out. And while it does, it doesn't go as zany or as all out as I was hoping for. It plays it a little more safe than I was wanting, and it also plays it a little less R-rated than I was wanting. It's actually kind of tame in my opinion as far as the R rating goes. I wanted to see crazier things happen. I wanted to see more body horror or more horror in general. So while it was more fun than scary, it still wasn't that fun in my opinion. So unfortunately, Cuckoo was a movie to where I feel like it's a victim of my own expectations. And at this moment in time, the week after its release, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6 out of 10 on the overall scale of Carter ranking. It's in that middle area that I still don't have a name for. Now keep in mind, that is just my own personal opinion. I did have very high expectations for this movie. If you go in very, very blind, not really expecting much, you might have a good time, and I can find a lot of people really enjoying this, especially since it's more of an indie horror and I try and go out of my way to support indie horror. Sorry, an alarm just went off. Anyways, that is gonna wrap it up for my video. Did you guys like Cuckoo? Did you not like it? Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. As always, guys, it is so much fun talking about movies. Stay tuned for my Alien Romulus review coming this week, and have a great rest of your day.